I mean, I think the ever present topic that I love to ask people about is like AI. How are you using AI? What do you think about AI? Are you scared of AI?
I'm not like scared of it because it comes back to the same thing with like the artistry versus mastery thing where it's like if there was an AI that like you could like that had like a voice that I could be like, oh, that sounds like this AI and I became a fan, then maybe I'd be a little intimidated, but all it can really do is recreate stuff and like music that sounds like anyone could make it or like it just could be made by anyone. You can't put your finger on it. There's no shortage of that now, you know?
All right, welcome back to another episode of A Path Unfolding. I'm your host, Jesse Brede. My guest here today is Essex, aka Sam Eckstein. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Eckstein.
Eckstein? Right on,
Yeah.
brother. Oh man, good to have you, brother. It's been a long time. Like we've been kind of on our journeys together for a while, and haven't really had a chance to catch up with you in a while. So I'm excited to hear all about it. Yeah, man. I want to. Oh, actually, let's take it back to kind of those early days. Gravitas released one of your early EPs, Bad Cartoons, and that's how we got to know you. And that was a really fun time. I think that was like kind of right when you started to tour and get some shows, and I'm super stoked to see how far you've come. I actually see the little ghost from Bad Cartoons right behind you
Oh
there.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I've always held on to it.
That's awesome, man. And I mean, for me, I've always loved your artwork and the fact that you're this multifaceted artist. Both doing obviously making music and then creating your own album artwork and now visuals. So I think that's dope. I was just kind of looking through your discography and saw you've got volume two of the Keepsake EP. I wanted to hit like tell me what's going on with that. Where are you at with that? What's that all about?
Um, yeah, this it's like a I'd say it's kind of like an album, but it's like with like some previous albums I've made it this whole like concept album where everything was connected and it all kind of like flowed and stuff. And this time I kind of wanted to just make kind of like a mixtape almost because it's basically just a collection of all the songs that I just made for like more like dance floor oriented type stuff or maybe more just like more so just like heavier like more like singles and I felt like it was a way for me to like it's kind of just a collection like a little collection of like all the different like it's probably made over like 2 years and I kind of just like stacked up all these dub plates to play at shows that I just didn't really have any specific thing for and I was like it's just kind of a collection of all these little like memories from throughout the years. And I wanted to do it. Like, I actually got the idea from this guy, Quadica, who released something called Scrapyard, where it was just kind of like a collection of singles, and he would release like a different EP every like 2 weeks or so with like 3 or 4 songs. And then at the end, he just like threw them all together as an album, which is kind of, I like that idea because I also liked the idea of being able to make art for like four different things instead of just one thing and putting it out. I wanted to like maybe like use the release format as like kind of a way to as like points of contact to share like all this art with, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm looking at the artwork right now. I mean, I think that's cool just calling it keepsake, and maybe it doesn't have to have any grand vision behind it, but it's just kind of like the tunes you've been working on and playing, and now they're getting to see the light of day. And I think it works well with the sort of modern day release strategy and people wanting singles, and the more frequently you can release and kind of give people a slice of release radar and Friday fresh finds on Friday kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, how are you self-releasing those? Are you working with a label?
Yeah, no, I'm just self-releasing these ones. Honestly, it was kind of one of those things where I guess maybe it's just because I've been doing it for so long, but like I don't really uh I don't know. I'm not really opposed to just releasing them myself. Like it doesn't seem to do any less
Hmm.
well like on Spotify or anything. So like as much as I do love working with labels and like the shows and stuff that come along with those releases, but it takes a long time, and these are all just songs that I just wanted to get out. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put them out and do all the. I think a big benefit to doing the art myself is I can just kind of market it myself and just make all this material to like push through social media. Um, and I'm content doing that, and I enjoy making all the stuff. So it's kind of
Dope.
just like it's all a big art project for me. I'm just having fun.
Yeah, and you mentioned labels. Obviously, I'm coming from being a label and looking at people like Deadbeats and seeing what they can offer artists. And I think, one of the things I've always said is like as artists start to get a momentum, it seems like smart to like maybe do a release with a label and then do a self release to kind of keep your momentum up and not be adhering to their schedule. That being said, I know you just released with Memory Palace, Tyler of the Trees label. How did that go? How was that?
It was great. I mean, it was actually like me and Tyler have like we were talking about Memory Palace for a long time, like over COVID. And like I actually was like one of the people like I came up with the name Memory Palace when we were like brainstorming all this stuff.
No
And
way. No way.
yeah,
Oh,
but it
that's
was
awesome.
we were talking about it as just like I think we were both like feeling a little restricted by just like the way labels work, and it was kind of more of like a let's just do something that's like for all the you know let's try and just do something really cool and different from the way we have been seeing things run. And obviously Tyler blew up, and it kind of Memory Palace became its own like enigma, like it's become its own thing. But he gave me the first release on it, which I was like very appreciative of, and it was super helpful. Uh, Another good friend of mine, Jay Rogovan, is also very involved. So it was very easy. It was easy like working with friends, which is nice. And I all people I trust. I really trust Tyler's like vision for both his project and just his taste in music and visual art. So it was nice because I trusted them with my material, and I trusted them to do it justice. And I think they did a great job.
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know, Jay is Tyler's manager and one of the founders of Compass Management, which, I don't know if they still are, but managed G. Jones, EPROM, Tyler. I think they have Cone Sound. I think
Hmm.
Opio is on there now. Maya was someone that worked for Gravitas part time, and then she was working for Compass, and
Oh
now
yeah.
she moved over to Compass full time. She's super talented, super hard worker. Um, again, I think Jay's awesome. I think he does a great job for everyone, and really is someone that's a pleasure to work with in the industry. And then obviously Tyler, like you said, he's blown up. It's so cool to see. I mean, if we're taking it way back, like this was us at Great North Festival and up in the East Coast, like at least when Gravitas was first starting, getting to know you and Tyler, and to see where you guys have gone with your careers and the shows that are playing. It makes me so proud to see everybody staying in this game, because it's not easy, and
Yeah.
excelling and making it through it, and all those ups and downs that come through it. I mean, I know we've all had moments where we're like, I want to freaking quit this and not struggle. But when we get to the other side of that, the payoff is amazing, man. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I never wanted to quit. I'm not qualified to do anything else.
I love it. I love it. You are though. You are. I mean, you've worked in graphic design. You've done some amazing stuff, right? You've had some other
Yeah,
gigs.
yeah. No, I've done some like freelance like illustration and graphic design work, but yeah, no, I don't think I think even considering all like even when there's even with all the downs and stuff, I'd still rather not be doing anything else. I
Nice.
still do what I want every day, and
Yeah.
I get to create what I want to create and not like client work, which is not. It's still fun, but it's not the same, really.
Yeah. Amen to that. What are you? Where are you at now? You're still in Brooklyn. I think that was where you were last time.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I've been in Brooklyn for it's like I don't even know now, probably like 16 years or something like
Wow.
that.
Would you ever consider living anywhere else? Is that just that's your home for good?
Uh, I would. Uh, I have considered it, but we have a we have a good situation
Mm.
here. We got like a nice apartment. We don't Our rent's not too crazy. Um, we still got a lot of friends here, but yeah, I wouldn't. I'd probably, if I lose this apartment and the deal we have, the rent price that I have right now, then I'll probably just move to Philly or something. Just move somewhere cheaper.
Right on. Well, yeah, I want to circle back on your art. I remember going back a while. I was looking through your socials and I saw you had this art show. I remember, I think you sold a good amount of the pieces. What, how did that work? Was this all stuff that you had done for music or extra additional pieces? What was that like?
Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of just over the years just had like so much art I was sitting on because I made it for like I would make it for album art and stuff, but like only like a fraction. If I made like if I made an album for every piece of art I made, then that would be insane. But yeah, I kind of just it was a suggestion, and I was like, you know what, that'd be really cool. And I kind of just like I'm a big say yes to everything kind of guy, so I just was like, yeah, that sounds like I think someone pitched it to me, and I was like, that sounds awesome. And then I got really invested in it, and I had to like buy all the display walls myself and all the lights and like figure it all out, and I had to like
Damn.
figure out how to make them look good and like all this stuff, and it was a lot of work, but it was really cool. Like it was a major highlight to me because it was also like it was like a whole day thing we had like during the day there was like display walls, and then we had like I had my buddy Tie Dye Kai playing like an acoustic set, and then we had like I did like a down tempo set, but it was all kind of like a casual thing. Like there was people sitting down and like looking at the art, and then we even had like a stand up comedy show. There was like a
Nice.
couple stand up comedians came and did like sets there, and it was kind of just like it was like a big day party kind of thing. And then we kind of just cleared the room and then like let them back in for the ticketed event, which was also just like the same people. It was like everyone just stuck around,
That's
and
awesome.
it was really cool. And yeah, I basically just I set up like an online silent auction, and then just had basically like a bottom line, like a base price for every piece, and people could there was like QR codes next to them, and people could like bid online, and I sold everything. And I made everything reasonably priced because I think I'm not like a museum artist. I'm not trying to like sell my art for a lot of money. I would like to like actually sell it to people and for something they can afford. So I managed to sell everything, and there's like the couple of these pieces behind me I kept just because it's like album covers that I
Hmm.
have a bit of like sentimental value for. But yeah, I mean, uh, I think I'll probably try and do it. I'm, knock on wood. There's some wood here. I had to like look around for some wood, but I have another one planned or in the works that I don't want to go too deep into because I don't want to jinx anything. But I'm hoping to do it again bigger this year, and I'm thinking I'll probably finally just get rid of all these pieces because I've lived with them for long enough.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I don't know. I'm probably gonna like just try and make a bunch of my digital art into prints and just make it a bigger thing. I think I'm gonna try and like maybe bring in some other artists, make it more of like a community like
Yeah.
experience and not just like a me art show, but more of like an art show
Nice.
that people can participate in.
Was the show in Brooklyn?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
It was at this place, the Meadows, which used to be called Paper Box. I'm not
Okay.
sure if you remember that place, but it's been around for a long time.
Sounds familiar. Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
did, it was all original. There were no prints. It was all, and I wanted to ask, is this mostly like pencil and watercolor? What do you mostly work in?
Yeah, all of these are watercolor. To be honest, mostly nowadays I've been working with Procreate and just
Hmm.
making like digital art because there's just such a I think digital art used to be so like corny and bad, but also because the technology was so bad. And now with like the iPad and the Apple Pencil, like once I tried that, I was like, this is insane. Like you can do things like unimaginable with it, including like
Yeah.
animation now. And I like the idea that I can like make a piece and then like take that piece and animate it, and like there's just so much you can do with it.
Are
I
you
think
doing
it's
that in Procreate, or do you take the layers into something else?
yeah. Well, I Procreate just came out with a second app called Procreate Dreams, which is basically like more of a timeline animation app.
Hmm.
But you can drag the frame by frame animations from Procreate into Procreate Dreams and then like layer them on top of each other, and it's like yeah, you can do the work that like an animation studio would do in like on your
Wow.
iPad. It's insane.
Yeah, whole new ball game. Yeah, I saw you tweet, I think, or talk about it. Somebody was using your visuals out, like not for your set, and you were like, "Hey, could you not do that,
Yeah,
please?" Like,
yeah. Well, that was actually just someone on Instagram sent me a video of it, and I was like, "Whoa!" There was like he used it was like 30-second clip, and in that time, I saw like four different visual clips of mine, and I was like, "Damn!" And I knew it was just probably a VJ who'd I sent the package for, and then they probably just had it and on their had it on their Resolute and were running it, but
yeah,
they actually replied. They sent my manager a message and they were like very apologetic, and it was all like it was actually a wholesome interaction.
that's
I
good.
don't think there was any hard feelings.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to ask you about like playing at Red Rocks. I know obviously that's like the dream. How was that? You got to open for Rez, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was for Res. That was yeah, dream come true. I mean, that was like one of those like my parents, my whole family came, and then also
Yes.
my girlfriend and her family came. So it was like I had like my whole family there with me. It was a very wholesome moment, and I don't know how I ended up there, but it was really cool. I definitely that's one of the ones where you can like brag to your parents about it and they actually know what you're talking about.
I did it, Mom.
Yeah,
I got a
exactly.
real job.
Yeah. They don't care that I was opening. They were like, "You, wow, this is all you, huh?"
Yeah. That's awesome. My mom actually got to come to Red Rocks when I was managing Closey and Beats Antique, and I think Chloe played, and then I went. I was on stage and kind of managing that, and then when she was done, I think it was Polish Ambassador who was playing, and I went up there and she was geeking out. She was like, "I get it. This is so cool. Like I didn't really
Yeah.
get it before. Like wow." Because like Chloe had dancers, and I think she played guitar for a few minutes, and so it was like some stuff she could really relate to versus just head knocking beats. And just like, damn, that is cool.
Yeah. I think it has a very that venue has a very like like it's hard not to enjoy it because it's just
Yeah,
so you're like everyone's elevated and you can like see they like film the crowd and you can see people on the screen. It's like a sports game almost, you know?
yeah, wow. Just speaking of like amazing venues, have you had a chance to check out the Sphere yet?
I have not, no.
Dude, I want to go. I was trying to convince my dad to like. I was like, let's go see, Dead and Company at the Sphere, and he was kind of like, meh, Las Vegas sucks, and I was like, it does, but like Sphere sounds cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, the Sphere does sound cool. I wish I'm gonna wait until act I really want to see goes before
yeah,
I spend all that money. I've heard it's expensive. I'm not sure though.
yeah. Oh yes, for sure. Like my brother was like, hey, tickets aren't that bad, and I was like, no, no. You're gonna need to go on the resale market to get them, and they were like 700, 800,
Yeah, that's about
$1,000.
what I heard.
Yeah. If you could see one act there, who would you want to see? Putting you on the spot.
Man, that's a tough question.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be the only one, just like a good one, right?
uh, I don't know. That's that. I don't even know if I can answer that because I'm like, I'd say like someone in like the electronic music world, but yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be hard to name someone.
I would definitely go with Tool. I want to see Tool there, and I think hopefully before they're done, maybe they'll do one.
Yeah,
My wife's a huge Beyonce fan, and so we keep waiting for Beyonce to announce it. We'll see.
I'd go to Beyonce at the Sphere. I don't
Fuck
know if
yeah.
I'd pay the tickets. That those are going to be insane.
Yeah, right. But yeah, but I took my wife and her sister. I didn't actually go to the show, but they went to the Beyonce show in Houston, and it was like, I mean, the pictures were insane. Like they do
Yeah,
everything. Everything that you can do at a concert was done. I mean, they had a freaking horse came out, and like fireworks and lasers and lights and insane video and dancers. It was just like water. It's like what's happening, dude?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to like a major production like that as an adult, at least. I can't think of any show I've been to that's that big.
Yeah, I'd say be careful because now my wife, like, anytime we go somewhere, she's like, it's okay. I mean, the Beyonce concert was better. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
she ruined it for you.
Yeah, I want to I'll keep my cap at a lower. I'll
Yeah,
keep
right. Oh man. Well, yeah, let's dig in a little bit on like your creative process. Like, do you have any like where do you get your inspirations from music? Is there ever like you're walking down the street and you're like, oh, I see a thing and that makes you want to write, or is it just an everyday grind and just opening up the DAW and getting at it?
yeah, honestly, like I don't really ever like try to be like, oh, I have an idea, let me like write this down. It's
Hmm.
more of like I just open and play around and experiment and like I almost like if I like think of a melody and then like play it out and like write from like a plan, it's like it always sounds stale to me. I think
Hmm.
the real like excitement comes from like surprising yourself or like trying to like find happy accidents that somehow work or like try and make something that sounds like it shouldn't work, try and make that work somehow. And like it's like for me it's more of just like I enjoy kind of I enjoy like having I just try and like it's like a sense of play, you know? You just
Hmm.
like mess around and try and have fun and like not set any expectations and then just make like a million things, just try and make something every day. And then when it's time to release something, then you more just like choose your favorite things that you started and maybe just like put the final touches on them or like figure out what goes together. But yeah, I just kind of like try and work with a sense of play and just try and have fun and then stack up as many tunes as possible without any real plan or vision, you know? I think the vision kind of creates itself.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think for you, I think you have a very distinctive kind of synth palette and some of the melodies and tones that you use. Did that just evolve over time? And I mean, I don't know if that's a great question or not, but it's like it's cool because you've got your own sound, right? And there's a lot. I think there's a lot of people, especially in bass music, that kind of are doing similar stuff. And when I hear your tunes, like almost immediately, I know it's an Essex tune.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I don't think it's an intentional thing. It's like I just kind of like go with my gut and like do what I think sounds good. Like I don't really think about style so much as a matter like really when I'm like writing nowadays, I try to like what excites me the most is when I like manage to not sound too much like myself.
Mm.
But I think that all just comes from like my sensibility and like I just like darker like creepy melodies and stuff. That's just the stuff that tickles my ear and like it just kind of happens to be the way my brain works like melodically. Like I'll if I ever write like a I kind of just don't like happy music. I feel like happy music is generally usually pretty corny
Yeah.
sounding to me. So like I just naturally lean towards, you know, more moody, dark sounds.
Yeah.
But it's not really it's nothing like I put any like thought or intention behind. It's just like what tickles tickles my brain.
Yeah. If you're looking back, like what would you say, like either, learning lessons of how to be more creative or how to be more consistent? Were there any turning points where you're like, oh, okay, if I do this in the studio or if I show up, at this time or this kind of this with this approach that it works better for you?
Um no, I mean I think like really it's like I think the turning point for me was more of like making work for yourself or like doing it. I think just trying to do it. I think when I first started out, it was all for fun. So like I would write every day without like it was not a hassle at all. It was like a joy to do. And I think over time it became more of a chore that I had to do, I
Mm.
think, once I started like building a more of a career. And then it became and then, you know, I think as I got into a mentality of being like, oh, I have to write a certain thing or like I have to like make something that you know these kind of people are gonna like or this kind of like I have to make this kind of sound because this is what's popular or whatever and that kind of like killed the joy for me for a bit and then I just got back into doing it for fun, and that was really the turning point. Whereas like now, I never am like this helps me be productive. Like I don't need help being productive. I just
Mm.
love doing it so much that it's like just what I do when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I mean that does seem like a journey, right? So it's like, and I've experienced that with some of the label and DJing, and like we get serious about something, and it starts to be money and our livelihood, and we're into like how can we climb the ladder, so to speak, and then it gets really intense. And I think that's cool that you kind of found the other side of it and just like, look, that none of that's going to really help me create music that I'm stoked on. I have seen like, and maybe you can talk about this a little bit, like people when they're first starting out, they're producing and they don't have a lot of experience on stage and playing on bigger sound systems. Did you find a level up in your technical production as you started to kind of like create, produce and then go play your stuff on stage and then come back into the studio and be like, oh, I actually need to make this more simple or what, or open it up or cut these frequencies or what, so it can kind of translate better on the stage?
I mean, I think, yeah, I've also gone full circle with that, where I used to not worry about it at all, and then like, I was never like a shy person with my art. I was always like so confident that it was gonna be great, and then like I think there was a point when like I was playing on big systems and stuff. I was like, why is my stuff always so quiet? And then I kind of like went through an existential crisis of being like, oh, I guess I suck, and I need to like get better
Mm,
at mixing and stuff. And then I got almost overly obsessed with that to the point where I kind of felt like I was kind of so obsessed with that that I was kind of like sucking the life out of my music. I think it's like easy to get to make creative decisions based off of like this idea of like, oh, I shouldn't do this because it's gonna not sound good when it's like loud or whatever. And it can like really kill creativity if you're like too focused on it being clean and loud,
yeah.
like at least during the process. Whereas now it's like I've just learned through trial and error over the years how to just get it sounding. I just make it loud from the start and just mix right into like my mastering chain. And like, I'm like, or at least just I'll go like straight into a hard clipper and like, make sure it's loud and doesn't distort. And that's all I really worry about. I'm not as much of a stickler about mixing and stuff anymore because also just the music, most of the music that I like is like, it's not like insanely crisp and high fidelity. Like I'm more concerned with like an interesting idea than like a
Yeah.
clean mix. And
Yeah, I think
that's,
that's what I see with your music for sure. I was listening to you talk to Mr. Bill, and it's a fairly old podcast at this point, but it's like obviously you got a little bit of two extremes. Like he is the freaking wizard, technical, just understands everything to the just insane scientific level, and you were kind of like, yeah, I'm not really like that. And it seems like maybe you leveled up and you got, you learned those things to get your music loud, but then you could go back to just being creative and being about the musical idea that you're trying to express.
yeah. I mean, I think really like as far as like all that technical knowledge goes, I think like having like all these like very convoluted methods to get your mix like one luff higher, like it's not really. I think that's like that stuff is useful, but it's also not like I think as an artist. I mean, I think there's a difference between artistry and craftsmanship.
Mm,
Like I
yeah.
think you can be a great craftsman, but like really where the value is in any kind of art is like the idea and like I think I think like a lot of art, like visual art that I like, has can be rough around the edges and has some texture to it, and like has I think sometimes imperfection is a good thing
Yeah.
because it's just it's. I mean, I think there's like a level where when you can get to a level of technical efficiency where you just know how to get things sounding the way that they should. Anything beyond that is not as important as focusing on the ideas that you're
Mhm.
doing and like, the song itself as opposed to like a mix down or how it's going to sound on the system. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's there's there's only so much that like there's only so much of a difference between the perfect mix and a good mix, like a good
Mhm.
enough mix. The difference to the average listener is not really even comparable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I heard Edit from the Glitch Mob talk about this, and they like for the most of the track's life when they're working on something, they're really trying to refine the musical idea and hone in on that phrase and that expression, and then later they dial in all the technical stuff. So they kind of phase it out. And the other thing I was going to think about is even someone like Of the Trees, right? One of his most popular tunes, which I think is something that really got people excited, or I can go back to again and again, is like Wind Horse. And it's the emotional content. It's like you go there and you just like, oh, it's touching your heart versus, this is a banger. And I look at Spotify, and like most heavy bass music doesn't really do that well in terms of numbers. But like when it's like a vocal, it's got a really, really dialed in a musical, emotional appeal to it, whether it even be heavy or sad or happy or whatever. I think that's what causes a song to come, people to come back and listen to it again and again. So
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot to be said for like, I think the older you get, at least for me, it's like the less you are insulated by this little like festival scene,
yeah,
electronic music bubble, and the more you like start to go back to appreciating music in general outside of that bubble, and
yeah,
that's like, you start to say to yourself, this song isn't mixed at like
yeah,
the song isn't mixed at ear bleedingly loud volumes, and I'm feeling something from it, and it's like nice, and I'm enjoying it. I guess maybe I can write a song that's
yeah,
that has some dynamics in it and isn't like completely squashed to shit. But
yeah.
I
Fuck yeah,
I mean I think it's like an obvious thing, but I think when you get very like head down in this industry, especially like in bass music and stuff, you can kind of forget that not everyone is concerned about like having the loudest, cleanest mix or like anything like that. Most people are just like, this sounds cool, nice. And like
yeah,
when you can like get out of that like over analyzing yourself and just try and go back to like making something that's enjoyable to listen to or just unique or just interesting, that's really like that's like 90% of that's 90% of the value. And then all the little like technical mastery on top of it, that's just the craftsmanship. That's like that's it's important, but only like a percentage of it,
yeah.
you know.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, I think the craftsmanship is I think that's a really, really good point. Is like, what's the artistry? And I think the artistry is what people truly connect with on an emotional level, and then the craftsmanship is just the sort of the delivery and the shaping and the final process of something. Um, yeah, that's cool, man. That's a good chat. Well, let's take a little time out. We can pause. What else, man? We covered a lot of ground there. Um,
Yeah, I'm open to whatever, I'm an open book.
I love it. I love
Just
it.
send me on a topic and I'll go.
Yeah. um, let's see. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the ever present topic that I love to ask people about, just because I get these really wide ranging answers, is like AI. How are you using AI? What do you think about AI? Are you scared of AI? Is it something that you've tried and are excited about?
Um, I have not tried any AI stuff. Uh, I'm not really, actually, you know what? No, I did try out that ozone like self-mastering thing.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know, this sounds pretty good, but like I don't use it. I don't really use it, but I don't know. I'm not like scared of it because I mean, it comes back to the same thing with like the artistry versus mastery thing where
Mm.
it's like I'm not like if an AI if there was an AI that like you could like that had like a voice that I could be like, oh, that sounds like this AI and I became a fan, then maybe I'd be a little intimidated, but all it can really do is recreate stuff and like music that sounds like anyone could make it or like it just could be made by anyone, you can't put your finger on it. That's like I don't think that's there's no shortage of that now.
That's a good point. Hell yeah. That's good. I like that take, man. I think that's a good take. I know like someone like Blue Tech, like he was super quick to adopt it, and he got really into Mid Journey. He's a visual artist. I think Mid Journey and his type of art work well together. And so he was iterating and taking layers and taking pieces and sort of the photorealistic, hyper, really bright colors. I think he was doing some cool stuff with that. So I think the thing I saw was like, and I think the thing that you're saying is whoever's the most creative still wins, so to speak. Whoever has something to say and a voice, then you start to use the tool and make it worth at least make it worth using for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see myself. I see there's one tool that I've seen that was like that's cool, which is I think there's like a new Adobe thing. I've only seen like an Instagram video of a demonstration, like a keynote they were doing about it, but like you can take a 2D image and then just like hit a button and it basically turns it into like a rotatable 3D image and like
Oh wow.
fills in the gaps of all of it. And like that, I'm like, I saw the video and I was like, this seems a little too good to be true, and I'll believe it when I see it. But that I could use. Anything
Yeah.
else? I also Simplant has this thing that like can make a pad. You can like put a sound in there and it makes all these varieties of like patches that are like
Yeah.
based off of that sound. And I've had some fun with that, but I haven't really found it hasn't made its way into like my workflow so much. Like I don't often go and be like usually if I find a sample or like a sound that I want to use or like, something like that, I'll just use that sound. But
Yeah.
it's helpful for getting varieties and stuff. I yeah, I don't know. I'm not really threatened by it at all because
Word.
I don't think I don't think it's ever going to get to the point where like that's like I don't know. I don't think it's going to get to the point where it's going to be anything else than just more oversaturation of bad content, which like there's plenty of that now, and like I'll just be like, oh, this song sucks and change the song. I'm
I
not gonna
mean,
be
what
like,
what what if though, like just taking it to the logical conclusion, someone like Spotify, who they have really shitty deals with the major labels, their backs are up against the wall, so to speak, with paying artists. The artists want to get paid more, the labels want to get paid more. So if they're starting to really actually use AI to kick out stuff like chill hop or bad country, and the sort of on the level of like maybe you and I are discerning customers and maybe we still go get our stuff, but the way that the Spotify model works is the more music there is, it's like the bigger the pie gets split, or the more the pie gets split up. And the pie is the same, but all of a sudden it's like Spotify is using AI music to like fill the chill hop stuff. Like a lot of people don't know really who any of these chill hop artists are, and there's sort of it's just background music for people to study and whatever. And I'm scared of that. I'll say that I'm scared of that one. Whereas maybe some gravitas music or you music might have found its way into that algorithm. It just adds up, right? So, but who knows, right? I think I don't trust these technology companies to have independent artists, best interests at hand. Like they say they do, but of course they have to, right? They're using our content to drive their platform. So I think that's something like I'll use an example of like I went to Alaska and I was doing some research on best things to do in Denali National Park. And I was about 3 or 4 minutes into a video when I realized, oh, this is completely generated by AI. And they had done some chat GPT research on the top 10 things to do in Denali National Park, put that into an AI voiceover track, put that over some stock photos and videos, and there you have it. And I was like, this sucks. One, it did suck. You're right. I
yeah,
did go and find a human being that actually was there and like showing what to do. But I was like I'm a decently smart guy. I use computers all the time, and I was like 4 minutes in, I'm like, oh wait, this is all AI. So I think it is going to get better there, where we're like, oh, I can't even tell the difference. And I like our parents for sure can't tell, right? They're like,
right,
wow, this is great. This
yeah,
kid in the image that was floating around Facebook was like this little girl with her puppy in a boat during North Carolina to like spur people to be mad that FEMA wasn't helping, even though they were. And this was all AI generated lie to prey on people's hatred or vile, like get people riled up and make a bunch of clicks. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, at the end of the day, I did hear something about like where all of that the AI slop on Facebook is coming from, and there's like different countries are doing different things with it. I heard that I can't even remember it. There was like a study that like all those like pictures of like it's like an AI generated picture of like a soldier who's like in a lawn chair with like no legs and like for some reason in between lanes and like on like the highway holding a sign that says like it's my birthday or something like please click like or something and it'll have like three 30,000 likes and like a million comments from like old people being like God bless like
yeah, that's
thank you for
about
your
right.
service
Yeah,
but
Facebook in a
like
nutshell.
but I think the reason they do that is I heard that like there's like offices of people making the stuff in like Vietnam or somewhere. I can't remember what the country was, but the incentive is that I guess Facebook, if your content gets enough clicks and stuff, you will get like money for it. So
Yep.
there's like these people just like trying to grift this like grift the system and just like researching what will get reactions out of Americans or like boomers on Facebook and just like entering
Dang.
that in like entering
Dang.
prompts in to like appeal to that. I
Wow.
think, it's all absurd and kind of funny. So like I'm not as concerned about it as I am entertained by it.
All right. Well, I like the optimism. I'm gonna be on your. I'm team optimism too. We'll find our way through it. Hopefully.
Art will
Uh,
prevail, my friend.
yeah.
Don't
There you
worry.
go. Well, maybe that'll be the title of the podcast. Art will prevail. I like it. Well, what else, man? What else you got coming up? You got any plans for sort of end of the year? Looking at next 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I am I got like one more show before I got one more show next week in Orlando and then I have 3 dates on the Of the Trees tour
Hmm.
in SLC and Phoenix and LA
Nice.
on those stops. And then you know, once again, knock on wood, I'm hoping to do this art show at the end of the year when my album comes out. Hopefully, the album comes out December 13th, Friday the
Okay.
13th. First single is
Nice.
Friday the 13th, second or final single also Friday the 13th. And there's
Nice.
13 songs. I put a lot of
Okay.
thought into this. But hopefully doing this art show and then yeah, next year 2025 uh hopefully do another tour of some kind for all these songs and put out more songs. It's there's no plan. I'm just
Nice.
making, releasing, and hoping for the best.
I like it, man. I mean, I think there's some like you kind of hit on earlier. Sometimes we tend to overthink things and make it more complicated than it needs to be. And like, I feel like you're in a good place. It's like you're doing your thing and putting out music and having fun and creating art. Like, I was gonna ask, what's the balance? Like, how often are you creating, visual art versus music? Does it change from week to week? Is there times where you kind of go with the ebb and flow, or is it pretty consistent?
It's all just ebb and flow. It's all like vibes. Like I don't ever like wake up being like I need to work on this today. Like really, the only time I end up actually like being the most productive is when I'm like, oh, I got something else I need to do today, and then I'm like, let me just like hop on my computer for a sec, and then it'll like 6 hours later, I'll be like, oh shit, this is a cool song. So
Nice.
like for me, I never wake up being like I need to do this or that. Like I'll write notes and be like, this is something you need to get done in time. But
Yeah.
usually when I have a long list of those things, that's when I get something else done. And then that'll fill in the gap of like a previous thing that I needed something for. I'll be like, oh, this art's perfect for this thing that I needed to get done.
I love that. That's fun, man. Well, cool, man. Well, yeah. Thanks for the chat, man. It's been so good to catch up with you. I'm stoked to hear the rest of these EPs and the album. I do hope your, knock on wood art show lands and happens. And I'm good luck on these dates with Of the Trees. And yeah, man, lots of love and just keep doing your thing, brother. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, Jesse.
All right, brother. Talk soon. Have a good one.
All right, man. Take it
Bye.
easy.